Hey guys, welcome to episode number 7. This one is all about this skylight that I built from scratch. I think it only cost around 60 bucks in the end. I'm super happy with it. It worked perfectly. It's one of those things where I just had no idea it was actually going to work. Like, I had this idea, but I didn't really think it was going to even work. I don't know. But it all just came together and worked out exactly how I planned it. And yeah, it's been 3 weeks or so now, not a single leak, no water gets in, it locks down, seals really well. So sorry if it sounds like I don't really know what I'm talking about in the video. I guess I didn't really have any idea what I was talking about. I was just making it up as I went. So I was a little bit vague at some points, but yeah, hopefully it shows you all the information and hopefully you get some ideas and give one a crack for yourself. What's the worst that could happen? I guess you could end up with a massive hole in your roof that leaks, but that's probably not gonna happen. Just do it properly, take your time with it, and yeah, go from there. So this is pretty much what I need to make my skylight. I've made one before in the Sprinter using a pretty similar method. So yeah, it's kind of freaky because I've got to cut a massive hole this big in the van. But the idea is to make a frame out of this, which is 30mm treated pine with a primer coat on it, so it's nice and smooth and ready to paint. And then I'll bond the perspex to the top of the frame and then rip the whole frame down in half and make that top section hinge up. And then I've got some little locks to lock it down. I'll have a rubber seal in between the two. So yeah, I think it should all work, but I'm gonna do like a dry run, make the actual skylight, get it all working, like opening and closing perfectly probably before I even cut the hole. Pretty good idea. So maybe like a 70mm lower part of the frame, and then the top part which opens will be about 50mm. And then I'm gonna make that to the exact same size as my perspex, which is 4.5mm perspex. So the main reason I'm trying to make one is because the proper skylights cost like, I think they're like 700 bucks for the size I would want. And they don't open all the way. And they look like super generic, I don't know. All right, here we go. So first up, I'll rip this down, make a frame for this, and then see how we go. So that's the frame pretty much done. So the idea is that'll hinge up like that. Then I gotta glue the top sheet on. So that'll go like that. And I'm gonna glue that because last time I screwed this on, but it's kind of unnecessary. Like, the glue should bond it on really well and also form a seal at the same time. So it just should like look really nice and neat if that's just glued on like that. Now I'm going to sand this back a bit just to round off these bottom edges, and then I'll paint the whole thing. So these are all pretty much sanded now, and all these edges are perfectly level and flat. So when I bond the perspex on, it should form a really good seal. and where the rubber seal's gonna go is all nice and smooth as well. Except that bit. Everything is nice and smooth now. So the plan is to spray paint the interior with just flat white because that's going to be visible inside, and I want that to look nice and white and like open up the space. And then for all the exterior, including the bit where the seal is going to go, I'm going to use this waterproof membrane stuff. So this is a waterproof weather seal. It's a UV resisting waterproof membrane. So I've got the inside of the frames painted white. They look sweet. Now I'm gonna just paint pretty much every other surface with this waterproof membrane stuff. So these are where the seals are gonna go. So I wanna really make sure they're coated. And then obviously the exterior as well. And then this underside is where the Perspex gonna be mounted. So I'm not gonna paint that because the glue should seal that, hopefully. So I ended up giving this like 6 or 7 coats of that waterproofing stuff, and it looks pretty good. It's not 100% dry yet, but I got impatient. So now I'm gonna try and install the hinges and make this lift up, and then also put the seal on, and might put the latches on now as well. Probably be easier to do it now. So I just made up this little frame, and the idea is that this will get screwed to these center supports and glued to the roof with this crazy automotive adhesive shit. And then that should stiffen up this whole area. And then it'll sort of act as a guide for where I'm gonna cut out as well, because I know the Skylight perfectly fits into this frame. And then the idea is I'll screw the Skylight to this frame, so it'll drop in, and then I'll screw it to the frame all the way around. And then that should make it super strong, and there's not a single hole, except one massive hole, but not a single screw hole going in the roof, so less things to leak, less things to rust. All right, that is lined up perfectly. So I can't really change this now. This is where my Skylight's going. Do I definitely want a Skylight? This glue is crazy. It's the stuff I used on this window, and it does not come off, so it's pretty good stuff. That's my second bottle of wine I've smashed today. Oh no. I swear that's the second one. Oops. So I've drilled up from the inside, a hole in each corner. I'm a bit worried about running the jigsaw along this weird bumpy bit, but we'll see how we go. Holy shit! Woo! That was a close one. Alright, so I've cleaned up all the edges of the skylight, and yeah, it's pretty good. It worked out really well. So I guess it'll be kind of like this. Go up the ladder. So they're all super solid. Like I was hanging off this one yesterday. Super solid. So I'm just gonna prime up all these edges and then can try and glue it in. Alright, so that should be where my ceiling is. So if I drop the skylight down onto there, screw it in, I think that should be lined up perfectly with the bottom of the ceiling. We'll just do it and see what happens, I reckon. Alright, so put a bead of this crazy adhesive on the very edge, all the way around. And the idea is when the skylight goes in, it'll like compress that and bring that down the sides. And that'll fill the gap, and then I'll come along after I've screwed it in and just really fill all these edges with the adhesive. And the tape should create a nice smooth edge on the outside. All right, they're going back now. It's going pretty well. It only opens at 90 degrees because the frame sort of is pretty close to the roof, which is fine. But I'm thinking if I pack this end up like 10 mil, then it'll create the whole thing on a slope that way, which means water won't like pool on it. It'll like go down that way. So that's probably actually a good little addition. Okay, I think that's going to be better because now the hinges are completely clear of the actual frame, of the actual steel, and there should be a good solid tilt going this way. So the skylight has been in now for roughly 3 weeks or so. I forget, 4 weeks, who knows. But yeah, I just thought I would show you the end result. I haven't quite finished it. I still got to do a few little things. I want to add a ladder. The whole idea of the rooftop deck is so I can go up and have like a beer in there in the afternoon and have a deck up here. And the idea is I'll have a ladder, climb up onto the deck, inside. Don't even have to get out of the van to access the rooftop deck, which should be really cool. But yeah, I'll just show you a couple of details of the Skylight. So it's pretty hard to like reach and close at the moment. So I think that's why I'm gonna add some gas struts so it only opens up about 90 degrees and then I'll have a handle, but I can just reach it. So when I was gluing on the Perspex, the glue I used was solvent based, and then when I went to clean the excess glue off with some Terps, it sort of messed up that interior paint on the inside. So I'm gonna have to repaint it. That's why there's like screws and marks and shit everywhere. I'm gonna repaint it properly anyway, so I'm just leaving it for now. I might paint these latches white, although I kind of like the black now. I don't know. But yeah, these catches are super solid. Just compresses that seal down the whole way around. No water gets in, even like driving on the highway in pouring rain. No water has got in, which is so good. I've got to trim off this bit, these edges, so I'll just put some like angle wood like that. I don't know what it's called. All the way around. That'll just finish that off nicely. All right, let's go and have a look on the roof. So the best thing about this Skylight is that it's super solid. It's attached directly to the supports of the roof, so I'm sitting on the edge, no problems at all. I can do like chin ups on the edge, everything. And it's massive, so it's super easy to climb up onto the roof. So this is how the sill turned out. Super happy with that. I don't know if it looks any good on camera. But pretty much that's that automotive adhesive, and it's just formed this like rock solid barrier the whole way around. It is flexible as well. There's really no way it can leak. That's just like super solid the whole way around. I found the best way to get a nice smooth finish like this with any silicons or anything like that is to, after it skins, so after it dries for like 10 minutes or so, just get your finger and dip it in some Terps or just some soapy water if it's a water-based sealant, and just like, you can pretty much polish it, just keep going like that. And that's what I did with this, and it's like almost glossy, the finish. So yeah, it's come up really well. You can hardly really see where it even joins to the roof. So yeah, I'm super happy with how the Skylight turned out. I can't believe it actually worked, to be honest, but really happy it all worked out. Any questions, just hit me up in the comments. I'll try and get back to you. All right, I'm gonna go and finish my beer. That's enough filming for today.
Yeah.